I have dealt with multiple traumas since I was 5. The one that I would say tied specifically to just kind of like my self-love and self-worth is I was severely bullied. That compounded with what your peers are telling you that you're not worthy of being treated kindly because of your looks is something that then you build kind of around well into your adult life. That limiting belief is what kind of carried me through way into my 20s until I started my own healing journey. Kind of when the trauma got to be too much in my own healing journey, I had a lot of physical symptoms. My stress always manifested very physically. So chronic fatigue, chronic pain, insomnia. There was a point where my knees swelled up so much that I couldn't walk. So I really felt I had to, at that point, address that. But the root, and that's what I teach in my program, of all healing is mindset, because what you're telling yourself is exactly what your body's going to do.
Welcome to Linda's Corner, where we bring more hope, healing, and happiness to the world. My name is Linda Bjork, and today we're going to be talking about acne and skincare. I'm delighted to welcome Meg Gaic. Meg is a holistic nutritionist, skincare professional, acne expert, and the creator of the Get Glow Method. You can reach Meg at her website, getglowmethod.com, and I'll include that link in the show notes. Welcome, Meg. I'm so glad that you could join with me today.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
I am too. And a lot of times on this show, we talk about things like self-worth,
Mhm.
self-love, and recognizing that we have value. And I understand that this is something that in the past has been a bit of a struggle for you. Would you be willing to kind of share your story of why it was hard and how you were able to overcome that?
For sure. Yeah. I have dealt with kind of multiple traumas since I was 5, and it just kind of kept hitting. The one that I would say tied specifically to just kind of like my self-love and self-worth is I was severely bullied for being fat when I was 12 and I had to move schools. And you're 12 is when you're kind of your identity's forming, right? All of that confidence and self-worth. Plus, you're also consuming media for the first time. That was when I was 12, it was like a lot of magazines and MySpace was coming out, and it was all those very thin Kate Moss like models. And so that compounded with what your peers are telling you that you're not worthy of being treated kindly because of your looks is something that then you build kind of around well into your adult life. That root kind of takes hold. And, that limiting belief is what kind of carried me through way into my 20s until I started kind of on my own healing journey. Kind of when the trauma got to be too much in my own healing journey, I had a lot of physical symptoms. My stress always manifested very physically. So chronic fatigue, chronic pain, insomnia. There was a point where my knees swelled up so much that I couldn't walk. So I really felt I had to, at that point, address that. But the root, and that's what I teach in my program, of all healing is mindset, because what you're telling yourself is exactly what your body's going to do. Right. So to me, it was the biggest blessing at the end of the day, to have gone through all that, because it led me to now helping thousands and thousands of women who were in similar situations to me.
Wow, you brought up so many important facets. One that you ended with was because you went through these hard things. Now that you're on the other side, it empowered you. It made you qualified to be able to pay it forward and to be able to help other people. And I think sometimes it's helpful as we're talking about mindset to recognize that our hard things can be the seed of something good, because hard things stink and we don't like hard things and they're horrible when you're going through them. And it gives a little bit of hope, that glimmer that, you know what, even what I'm going through, as horrible as it is, something good might be able to come from this.
100%. Yeah.
And I loved how you talked about, we're talking about acne, we're talking about skincare, and yet we're not talking just about taking care of our face. It starts from the inside out, and how you recognize that our stories that we tell ourselves, the way that we feel about ourselves, manifests physically.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Was the biggest light bulb moment for me ever, not only in my own just healing journey of my own self, but just as a practitioner, I was like, okay, this is what's lacking. When I was going through this for 10 years, spending $40,000 to try to heal my skin, and no one got it. No one got this piece. And that light bulb moment went off about how deeply connected, especially a skin journey is, because it's your face and I don't think anyone who hasn't gone through a chronic acne journey can understand that your whole entire core and life revolve around your skin. It impacts everything from obviously your finances if you're trying to kind of heal yourself. It impacts your career, feeling, confident enough to apply for that job or do that board meeting. It impacts your relationships, not only with yourself, but with your partner, with your friends. It impacts your social life. Like, it is at the core of if you're going to have a good or a bad day. It is in the back of your mind on a script running anytime you glance at yourself in a car window or take a picture. It's all you see. And that is literally living in constant fight, flight, freeze for the entire journey, right? And until we tease that piece, those narratives apart, saying, most people come to me and they're like, they say two things. Nothing ever works for me. I'll always be that girl with acne. And there's a inherent unworthiness of investing in themselves. And so there's a weird connection people have, and I had it too. You live with acne so long and that identity for so long, you're sometimes in a weird way still hanging on to it. So it's this double-edged sword that the mindset piece, I think, is a really hard thing because people want to just take a pill and they want to just take a magic cream and they don't want to dive into their internal, scripts and narratives and really see how their negative feedback loop is impacting their daily life. But the mindset is the keys to the castle. It's the keys to every single healing journey that I've ever facilitated.
That is absolutely true. And that same narrative of what is inside, we're trying to fix these core beliefs. We're trying to fix that I am okay, not I am okay because, or I
Yes.
would be okay if, but
If.
just I am okay. And until we can get to that point, guys, it manifests physically, it manifests everywhere. And I love how you brought up it's every single facet of your life. And here it is when your identity is I am unworthy. I
Mm-hmm.
am nobody. I am worthless. I am bad. I am shameful. I am whatever. Put the I am things. And
Yep.
for you, it manifested right on your face, which is
Mm-hmm.
the your identity that you present to the world. And that
Yeah.
is really challenging because then that physical manifestation reinforces those core beliefs and it becomes this cycle of, see, I told you. I told you
Yeah.
that I'm not worthy. I told you that I'm not good enough. And it just makes it worse and worse and worse. And you said you've spent $40,000 and how many years?
Oh, I mean, probably 5 years.
5 years.
It's hard to remember exact, but yeah, it was once I decided to get off the medical route, like the Band-Aid solution of like hormonal birth control and them pushing Accutane on me and not listening to a word I was saying and saying that like nothing else mattered, just take the drugs. Um, the natural route that I persisted, it unfortunately, and it's great because it taught me what not to do. It was an either or approach, right? First of all, you were having to see all these different people just to heal your skin. So you were maybe seeing an esthetician who did skincare, right? And then you were doing and seeing like a naturopath or a holistic nutritionist that did the internal stuff and gave you a root cause approach and did maybe testing and tried to give you kind of support that way. And then from the mental health perspective, like I was seeing a therapist, and that was well before, I was really introduced to, subconscious rewiring and all the things and tools that I practice now. But none of those people are communicating about your file and none of them are really acne experts. So they're giving you vastly different advice, but charging you for it. And it was just kind of this giant mess where eventually I was like, I'm going to combust. I need to go figure out this on my own. And that's what led me to become a holistic nutritionist. And then the path just formed very, very organically.
Oh, beautiful. So, as you're talking about going to the root, you were trying to go to the root You were trying to go to the root physically
Hmm.
by okay, what am I eating something that's messing me up here? And you were trying to go through even with some counseling to be able to say, "Well, I'm struggling with my self-worth." And yet none of those pieces by itself seem to hit the nail on the head.
No.
So when you decided to go out on your own and try to put the pieces together, what worked?
So, and I take this into all of my clients. There, I think, are the three things that need to happen for true healing aside from mindset. You need to learn how to reconnect with your body. I had been on hormonal birth control for 10 years. And I had no idea that symptoms were a positive thing. I had no idea that I should be listening to these as like a blessing of like my body's being like, hey, 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 something's up. Please give me love and we can fix this, that my body's on my team. I would say things like, why is my body against me? My body hates me. It fails me. Self-fulfilling prophecy. It gave me more symptoms. Your body's going to scream at you until you listen, and connecting back with it, you have the answers, right? And I think women are so disconnected from their power and their alignment and their energy and their intuition. And your intuition knows everything if you don't let fear overtake it. And that's what I was doing. And I was kind of like looking for someone else to tell me what I already knew was not working. And so obviously in an environment like holistic nutrition, it's a very conducive environment to healing. And so once I started to learn the actual education behind how the body worked and like why acne would be forming from a perspective of a detox pathway being clogged, understanding the skin was the largest organ of elimination. So if my gut and liver that I'd been on hormonal birth control and antibiotics for 10 years, they're probably not working the best and I need to give them support. I understood finally that cortisol is the foundation of absolutely everything. And if that's out of whack, which is your stress hormone, your sex hormones don't have a fighting chance. And I had been in fight, flight, freeze probably since I was 5. So, of course, I'm going to have problems with PMS and periods because the foundation was completely shattered. So I think, trusting ourselves, trusting our body's ability to heal, making our bodies feel safe and supported, it's just one of the biggest foundational pieces that I still teach to clients. I think people want to run to doing all these expensive testing and they want to see the data and they want to see what's wrong, right? But those tests are a waste of money until we actually get your stress under control. I already can tell you your cortisol is going to be high and your sex hormones are going to be off. Why are you spending $500 on a Dutch test to tell me that? So, and also if you're in a constant state of stress, seeing a test that's saying everything's wrong is going to just stress you out more. So I think we have to get a bit more back to foundation. Like I use the word foundational all the time. Foundations, connections, trust, and just like really reconnecting with our bodies.
That was amazing. I just want to applaud. So many golden nuggets just in those few sentences. So I would like to just kind of expound a little bit. Your body is your friend.
Hmm.
Now, when you're struggling with something like I'm struggling with weight, I am struggling with acne, my body is just not doing what I want it to do. The initial immediate response for most people is my body hates me. And
Hmm.
you know what? I hate it right back.
Yeah.
I hate my body. My body is the enemy. My face is the enemy. My skin is the enemy. My fat is the enemy. I hate my body. And
Yeah.
you know what? Our body is part of us. I mean, a very big part of us. And basically, we're saying, I hate me. And when we hate ourselves, a whole lot of things don't go well. And it creates just a whole lot of unhappiness and a whole lot of misery. So the point that you brought up, which is absolutely true, is hold on, guys. Your body is your friend. Everything that is happening within your body is intended to help you in some way. And we're talking about a couple different things, and I'm going to come back to acne and symptoms, but you also mentioned the fight or flight.
Hmm.
And it is normal for people who have had any kind of trauma, and it can be a physical, a mental, emotional, an abusive trauma, but any kind of trauma, the definition of a trauma is it overwhelms our ability to cope. And when we are overwhelmed and we can't cope, our brain says, don't worry about this. I got you. I'll take over. And so the fight or flight just takes over and just runs with it. And then it stays running. And sometimes it stays running in the background and people don't notice it. And sometimes it stays running and it's in the foreground and you feel it constantly, but it never turns off. You know this, but probably not everyone is aware that when our fight or flight is turned on, it affects different systems in the body.
Every
It's saying, you
symptom.
know what, right now, the only thing that matters is survival. So let's just put everything else on hold. This is where our focus needs to go. Digestion, taking care of nutrition, that can wait. Our anything about our growth processes, that can wait. Reproduction, that can wait. Immune system, that can wait. Right now, we got to survive. And then
Mm-hmm.
guess what? Your body falls apart.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You then have all these other symptoms that crop up. And I think that's the most heartbreaking thing for me is that people come to me when they are just so much more broken than they needed to be because they wouldn't just believe they're worthy to invest in themselves when the problem first started happening. And it's a fight that I'm constantly fighting on social media and just trying to carve that path of them understanding the core belief of almost everything is not feeling worthy, right? It's like, I'm not worthy of that dream life she talks about. I'm not worthy of investing in an expert who's going to change my life. I'm not worthy of taking that pressure off of myself to heal when I have no education, credentials, or understanding, and I'm overwhelmed and I need someone else to give me guidance. Like, it's like I don't cut my own hair. I go to a hairdresser. I don't color my own hair. I pay someone a lot of money to who's an expert at hair color. It's no different with acne. If you've got any disease, you go and see a doctor. That's drilled in us, right? But somehow when it comes down to, and I think most of it is people have been living, especially with acne, in a fear mentality. Fear has just taken over because nothing's worked so far. The fear is nothing will, and your brain is going to favor staying stuck and still because it hates change. It thinks it's keeping you safe by keeping you still. And so even when I'm talking with, potential clients before they come client, I'm like, I just want you to sit, take a few deep breaths and try to tap into your intuition because your intuition is screaming at you for help, but your fear is going, no, you don't need this. No, keep suffering. And so they listen, they come up with objections, right? It's often like, I can't afford this, or like, it's not the right time right now. And it's like, there's no other worthy investment than you because your health and your mental health have a ripple effect into like we talked about, every single aspect of your life. I've literally had clients where we've worked together and they're like, oh, I got a job promotion or like I got a raise. And I'm like, yeah, because you're energetically aligned right now and you're vibrating at an amazing frequency and you're confident and you're going in there and you're taking what you deserve. Like it's not a surprise to me, but people just think like acne medication or like acne food, like they can't understand how like completely holistic it really is.
What a beautiful, beautiful piece of information that you've added. If we invest in ourselves, not only do we get the results that we were seeking for, like, oh, now my skin looks so much better, but because I feel better about myself, hey, people are treating me different, not just because of the way that I look, but the way that I am showing
Energy.
up as a
Yeah.
person. And I'm
Yes.
I'm getting that raise. People speak to me different. It's a different kind of a thing.
I met the love of my life. I'm in a healthy relationship. The stuff people tell me after 6 months with me, it's like, it's amazing. And this is why I'm on this rock, often solo, of like mindset, 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 because you deserve, and I think people, again, it's all the self-limiting beliefs. You deserve to have your best, happiest, most aligned life, not only physically, but like mentally and spiritually and emotionally. And we have to remember that every symptom that has a physical symptom also has an emotional charge to that too, also has like a deep kind of hold or a belief or a root that's like, from me when I learned that like I'm fat or whatever I was, right? And that hold held there for a really long time until I got to the root and rewired it, right? And now that's just not a thought that I have anymore, right? And we have to remember that like freedom is easy. You just have to invest in the right tools.
Mm. And they have to be the right tools
Yes, they
because
do.
for years you were seeking after tools, many tools, but we have to have the right information and the right tools. And when we get things right, things will start to click into place and we'll start to see those results, which matters. That's so important.
A
And
hundred percent.
okay, I would love to talk just before we get into the Get Glow. We talked a little bit about how your body is screaming. This intuition is screaming for help, saying, please look at me. I need some help. And so if these quiet, they start quiet kind of feelings inside, or these thoughts, or these whatever, are not heard, are not listened to, are not seen, they start to get louder and louder and louder. And usually something happens physically because we tend to listen to our physical symptoms like, oh, I got to do something about that. Whereas the other things we often tamp down, pretend we don't have them. Maybe we're ashamed that we have them. But when it pops up, and here we are, if it's popping up on my face, I'm going to see it every time I look in the mirror.
Hmm.
I'm going to see. And again, you said the body's not the enemy. What it's trying to say is, help me.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And I think, I mean, it's it's a again, to me it's all about power. So if you step back into your power and you're like, "Oh," and you get curious instead of like mad, and you're like, "Oh, I had a weird period this month." And instead of being like, "I can't believe I had bad cramps like this," and like, "What are you doing? This protocol isn't working after 1 week," right? Like that's the other thing. People want it to be like, well, this isn't working 2 weeks in. I'm like, yeah, no way. I don't even think you're going to see any results until 3 months in. Let's be real. Let's be real. And acne takes 90 days to form. Your body has been in a state of fight or flight, and we have to heal that like minimum 3 months for us to start to see some shifts. Um, but yeah, I think, people don't understand instead of just being like curious about where they're at in their cycle, like what their stress levels were like, what their diet and sleep has been like. What are those foundational pieces? How have you been talking to yourself? Are you doing any sort of stress management that speaks to you? Are you living your life in a way that's joyful? Like, do you do one thing a day that brings you joy? Do you do anything that's creative in terms of an outlet that way? Like, your energy is probably just trapped, right? Like, when I meet with clients, it almost feels like they're all their shoulders are up and they kind of like feel like they're like clawing at stuff. Like they're in this like hamster wheel, hamster wheel, hamster wheel, and their mind is racing of like, is it because I ate this? Is it because I tried this new skincare? And then they're on scrolling on acne TikTok and acne social media, and they're getting 55 different opinions that are all just really designed to get views. They're not real advice. It's not tailored to them, and they're overwhelmed. They're trying all these trends that are just a waste of money. And then they're even more stressed. Like it's such a cycle.
It is a cycle and it can continue unless we have the courage to step off.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of courage and it takes some patience because like you said, what I want is a quick fix. I want a pill. I want to wake up and have it be all over. And when you say I need to wait at least 3 months before I start to see results, that means I have to have patience,
Mhm.
trust, and
Mhm.
perseverance for 3 months before I know if any of my efforts made any difference at all. And that's hard.
It is hard. I mean, I always say to my clients, like, I have enough confidence for the both of us at 3 months in. And like for those first 3 months. And I think this is again why you need to work with someone. Like, I have healers, I have mentors. Like, you cannot heal. It's really hard to heal yourself. You have so many blind spots. And for something as emotional as acne, you need to have someone who can just literally take the pressure, take the reins, give you the exact car. You just need to drive it. Right. And I think having a support system, like acne is that's what I was always missing too. It's like I didn't have anyone I could like text or email and be like, I'm having a horrible day. Like, help me, talk me off the ledge. Do you understand what that feels like to cry on the bathroom floor in the morning because you hate what you see in the mirror? And so I felt really strongly about having that support in my program. So like they have access to me Monday through Friday through text and voice messages. So, they don't feel alone in the journey anymore. And that they all say, I mean, they're all completely different people on the 3-month call. And I'm like, how you doing? And they're like, oh my gosh, you were so right. It's all shifted. The mindset is the keys to the castle. It is the same conversation and it never gets old. I'm going to tell you that there's a light in their eyes. Their posture is different. They literally, like, you can feel their energy shift. But those first 3 months, they're panic emailing me every week. But I am so calm and steadfast. And I know how this works. And I know if you follow the protocol and you're actually doing what's individualized to you and your body and you're really doing the mindset work, it's going to work. Like it's 100% going to work.
That is those are great odds. 100% it's going to work. Now, what we've been discussing is all of this pieces of the Get Glow. Is that
Mhm.
what we're doing? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That is so thrilling because it gets to the root and it helps in every aspect of life. No more
Yeah.
crying on the bathroom floor.
No, and I mean, that's the thing. It was very important to me after going through my own journey that I did everything in-house. Like, so they don't see anyone else. Like, I'm also a medical esthetician and a mindset coach. So I'm a nutritionist, mindset coach, medical esthetician. So everything from supplements to nutrition to skincare to their rewiring and mindset work and support is all through me. So I think, again, I'm the only one looking at their case file. Like that's why it has the results that it does. Because otherwise, it's just too many cooks in the kitchen. When I went to nutrition school and my esthetician school, the stuff that we were taught about acne is straight up wrong. So it's not anyone's fault, but these estheticians aren't giving proper training about acne. And so they have to do continuing education with someone who knows what they're doing. And the same thing with nutrition. It's like one page and it's like as if it would be this simple as like, I think it was like cut out dairy or something. I was like, no, that's not how this goes. It's very complex. There's a lot going on here. So, you have to remember that too. Sometimes people are wasting money on all this test and product and like seeing all these different practitioners the way that I was, and it quickly added up versus, seeing one person who day in and day out, all they do is acne, and gets it, right? Like I think having that validation piece is so important. And I lacked that. I didn't have anyone I ever saw over that whole 5 years that had acne. And I'm like, you don't get it. Like when I'm sitting here crying in your office, like you don't know that physical feeling of like just like complete overwhelm and shame about your literal face.
And helplessness
Yeah.
because nothing has been working.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you are a package deal. You have studied all of the different facets so that you're able to help every piece of this. But I am going to disagree when you say all you do is acne because you help so much more than that. When they're
Yes.
finished, they're going to get so much more than clear skin. They're going to
Yes.
get themselves back, that
100%.
power to feel like I have power over what's happening in my life instead of I can't control what's happening to me. And that's a very powerless feeling. I love when we can help people get their power back and help them to learn how to love themselves, value themselves. And isn't it interesting that that's the part that comes first and then the results appear?
Mhm.
We think, I will be happy when I look
100%.
amazing. I will feel good about myself when I can look in the mirror without wanting to cry.
Hmm.
And it goes the other direction.
Yep. I was actually just talking about this on my social media of the whole I'll be happy when. And you won't be because you'll find something else to complain about. And I've seen it time and time again from clients who haven't done the mindset work. And back before I studied and did all of my mindset stuff, because then they'd start complaining about scarring and then they'd start to complain about their bodies and then they'd start to complain about their hair. And I'd be like, wait, what? Like, what a crazy, you told, like, you thought okay, as long as I have clear skin, I'll be happy. But no, you're going to pick something else apart because you still have the core belief you're not worthy. And you were hinging your worthiness on an external source of validation. And that can't be. It has to come from yourself. That belief has to be rewired so that you love yourself with cystic acne. That's what we do first. Like, I need to teach you to rewire every belief while you still have the acne. And then the freedom comes from that because you start to realize, like, oh, it's actually not about the external sources. It's about what is coming from me.
I love it. I feel like we are very aligned, and I'm so delighted with what you're doing and that you can
Yeah.
help people just change their lives because your face matters. I mean, they
Yeah.
talk about so and so is the face of the company. This is the part that we show to the world, and we want to be happy when we look in a mirror.
That's the thing. I think the bottom line is I just, I think people really just deserve to be living their healthiest, happiest lives. And it makes me very heartbroken to feel that so many of them don't feel that they're worthy of that. And like, that's the basis of like what I'm trying to do in the world is just as much healing as I can put out there for people to just live their authentic selves and be, yeah, just like living a joyful, peaceful life. Like you deserve that. Like every single person deserves that. And it's easier than you think. And I think people think this journey has to be so hard and like it doesn't. It actually can be so easy once you get the right keys to the castle, right? And like you put your puzzle pieces together. It gets to be so easy.
That is very hopeful. And I loved how you said everyone, we're all worthy. There
Yeah.
isn't anyone who's listening who is not already worthy. Sometimes I think it's kind of like when you we're going a direction, say we're driving, and it just feels so normal and natural. And
Mhm.
there's no, you don't feel any G's. But if you do a turn, then it pulls on you and it's a little bit hard. And especially if you're going fast and you try to turn. But once
Mhm.
you're the other direction and you're going straight again, it is just as easy as it was the first time. So the tricky part is in the U-turn, in
Right.
making the change. So if making a change feels scary, I just want to remind people that it can be hard for a little while, but it's not hard forever. It can be just as easy to love yourself, to value yourself, to have confidence, to be joyful, to feel peace. It can be just as easy to have those things as it is in whatever you're doing right now that feels normal.
It honestly comes down to it just being a bit of a choice. Like it really is like a choice and a commitment to yourself. And then, you know, having the right tools that speak to you. But like I've seen it time and time again of, subconscious rewiring and just clearing those like beliefs and fears and people are like free of all these, ties that they've had for and conditioning that they've had for their whole lives. And I think it's just, yeah, that it's scary. It's always going to be scary to invest in yourself or put your healing first. And, a lot of clients that I have, they're not surrounded by other people that take that kind of journey seriously. And it's work. I mean, I've been on one for, I want to say 20 years now, right? And not everyone is super understanding of the dedication that it takes and, the practices that I do. But again, learning to lean into your like intuition and listen to your inner voice, like you do have all the solutions and answers in you. You just got to tap more into that and like get out of the fear.
Mm, I love this. This has been a fantastic conversation. Is there anything you want to make sure that we cover before we close today?
No, I think we had such it really outlined everything that I believe in when it comes to acne healing. And I just want to say, anyone who is on that journey, and in a really tough spot, like you can 100% be acne free. Like that does not have to be your story. I'm telling you that right now. And I feel like DM me and I'll tell you it again until you start to believe it. But it doesn't not, yeah, like you will get clear. You will not be that anomaly that's like always going to suffer with acne. You will get clear.
Wow, what a beautiful message of hope. Meg, thank you so much for visiting with me today.
Thank you.
In closing, I'd like to share a quote by Dr. Murad. He said, healthy skin is a reflection of overall wellness. Today, I invite our listeners to enjoy overall wellness by starting from the inside out. See you next time on Linda's Corner. Thanks for tuning in to Linda's Corner podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends to help us inspire even more listeners. Be sure to visit hopeforhealingfoundation.org for free and affordable resources to help you overcome life's challenges. And explore healingbreathworkdetox.com, where you'll find transformative tools for deep inner healing and lasting change. Also, don't forget to check out my books, Crushed, A Journey Through Depression, and You Got This, an action plan to calm fear, anxiety, worry, and stress. Your journey to hope, healing, and happiness starts here.